Closed doors, I'm a fool for your love.
Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, we're going to be doing video number 2 for the how-to series. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you all my tips and tricks on how to get my perfect smoky eye. But before we get started, if you guys are new to my channel, welcome. If you guys are not new, welcome back and thank you so much for coming back. If you have not already, do not forget to subscribe. Hit the like button if you enjoy this video. And if you want to see how I went from this to this, then just keep watching. Okay, so like I say in all of my videos, or like I will say in all of my how-to videos, I am not the only person who has tips and tricks. I am not by any way saying that what you do is incorrect or anything like that. I'm just showing you guys exactly how I get a desired look. I feel like our first video was a good one, like back to basics, like how I do the most simple eyeshadow, and today we're going to spice it up a little bit with the smoky eye. So of course we're going to be going in with the tried and true, the Jaclyn Hill palette. I like to choose this palette for one because it's a great price point. I feel like a lot of people that I know have this palette, and there is a ton of different options in here, especially for a smoky eye. So if you have not seen the first video in my how-to series, it is just a super basic eyeshadow tutorial, and I will link it up here and in the description box down below. But we're basically going to be doing the same thing, but with just a little bit darker of color. So we are going to try to smoke it out a little bit more, make it a little bit more fierce, a little bit more dark, and I'm going to show you exactly how I do it in the easiest way that I think there is. So like in my first video, I do have 4 brushes right now set out for this look. So we have a super big fat blender brush, a little bit smaller but still not too shaped blender brush, and then we have 2 tapered blending brushes. So these right here are the brushes that we will be using. Now they don't have to be these exact brushes, these are just what I have. You can basically use any brushes as long as you have basically big to small. So starting a smoky eye out, you don't really do anything different until you get further down onto the lid, or I personally don't do anything different, and I'm starting out with this shade right here because it's the closest to my actual skin tone, and we're going to use it as a transition shade. So we're going to take our big fluffy blender, and we are just going to work that into above our crease and below our brow bone. The cool part about these big fluffy brushes is they cover a lot of surface area at once, as well as they blend out really well, so you can kind of be a little bit more messy with it. And I do the exact same thing every time. Once I feel like I'm done depositing the actual color on my eye, I start to blend upwards. And that just ensures that you have a great blend. Now that we have our transition shade on, I'm actually going to go in with the smaller fluffy blender that I have out. And we are going to go in with a darker color. So all of the time for me personally, the rule of the game is the lighter the color, the bigger the brush. The darker the color, the smaller the brush. So now that we're on to the second shade, we're immediately going to go much darker. So we're going to go here. Now keep in mind, this is still a large blender brush. This one just has a little bit more shape to it. And so we are going to go directly below where we were before, a little bit higher than our crease, and this is where we kind of start to smoke everything out. So I'm just lightly tapping into my pan and placing it on the eye and then going back for a little bit more. I like to do little bits at a time just so I know that I'm doing it correctly and I'm blending as I go. Now with the difference between the last shade and this one, I am going to focus some of that color on the outer crease. And I am going to kind of blow it out a little bit. Blow it out means you just kind of swipe it out past your eye, and that helps give that smoky effect. as you can tell, it's already much darker and there is a little bit more definition going on. So now we're gonna go in with our third fluffy brush, but this one is definitely more tapered than the last one. And now we are going to significantly go darker. So we are actually going to go, we went here, here, and now we're going here. Now, this is where it kind of gets tricky. I do recommend that you tap off your brush a lot. Keep putting it on there, tapping it off. Put it on there, tapping it off. Because I have my foundation and everything already done, I do like to make sure that there's no fallout that's gonna actually hit my cheeks. So now with this shade, we're basically gonna copy the exact same motions that we did before, just a little bit lower again. And this time I like to push my brush directly under my brow bone and work like that from there. So I do like to use the small circle and windshield wiper motion, but just keep in mind I push it into basically the top of my eyeball right below my brow bone. With this specific smoky eye, I am going a little bit farther into my inner corner. Sometimes I don't, sometimes I just keep it super smoky and blown out on the outer corner and edge, but this time we're gonna go all the way in. Okay, so now that we are significantly darker, we're gonna do that on the other lid. Like I said in my first video about the basic eyeshadow, the same goes for this. You don't have to have the Jaclyn Hill palette. You just need to have colors that gradually get darker. It doesn't matter what palette it is. You can achieve this look with any palette. It may not be the exact same colors, but it's gonna be the exact same concepts. So after I have that darker shade on, I do like to go in with my first blender brush that we used and just smooth out those edges just to make sure everything is going together, everything is cohesive. Just along the edges, I don't want it to change the actual depth and the darkness. So now that we have went significantly darker, we are gonna take our smallest, and I did end up changing up the brush, we are gonna take our smallest tapered blending brush and we are going to go even darker. So the last shade we went into was this one right here. Next we're going to go directly below it, and it looks black but it's not. It's actually a dark purple. So with this specific color, you want to go super light on their hand. Typically anytime you do a smoky eye, the last color that you use, you want to go pretty light-handed with. And like I said in my first video, you want to make sure that your fingers are at the end of your brush just so you are not having too heavy of a hand, and it does help blend out everything a little bit better. As you can see, I'm just going to focus this on my outer corner, and I'm just going to kind of stamp that in. And I'm not really going to worry about blending this out too much yet because I do want to go ahead and get my lid color on, and then we'll kind of blend everything together. As you can see, that added a decent amount of darkness to the eyes. I know it's not blended out yet, but we will get there. So in my opinion, this is actually what separates a smoky eye from like a basic eyeshadow, is your lid color. Because when you do a smoky eye, you kind of keep things dark, smoky, you know. So we're actually gonna go in with this shade right here in the palette. So it's kind of like a brownish, bronzy, taupey color. And I am gonna go in with this brush right here. Now I didn't include this brush in the beginning because this is not necessary. I just have long fingernails, so it's gonna be easier for me to pack everything on the lid with this. So we're just gonna dip into that color right there. And now that we have it on our brush, I'm actually gonna spray it with some Fix Plus. And we are just gonna go to town packing that all over the lid. So now we're gonna go back in with that last crease shade, that really dark inner corner, and we are going to start to darken everything else up. I know it's already pretty dark. This is a great fall look, which is why I decided to do a smoky for my second video, because fall is coming. So we are going to go back into this shade right here, the one that we used before we packed on the lid. This one, the super dark purple. And we're going to go so light-handed back over what we did, and we're just going to flick it towards the inner of the lid. So like I'd say 3/4 of the way in. So now that I have the desired deepness on my outer corner, I'm going to take doesn't matter which blending brush, and I'm just going to blend up these edges. So now that I have blended all my edges, I'm going to repeat the same process under my waterline. I'm just going to be using a pencil brush. We're going to fast forward through that because that is not necessary for a smoky eye. Instead of repeating the same process on my lower lash line, all I did was use this shade right here with the pencil brush, and then on the very outer edges, I very lightly took that super dark shade and just shaded it in with a very, very extremely light hand. So the next thing that I like to do with my smoky eye is I like to add a black liner to my waterline, and that just kind of closes things off, makes things a little bit more sexy, sultry, smoky. As you can see, the huge difference. Like, hello. But the last thing that I do like to do with almost all of my eye makeup is I like to highlight my inner corner. Especially when I have a smoky eye, I feel like it brings the attention directly to my eyes because everything else is kind of dark, and then you just have this like pop of highlight right in the middle of your in the middle of your face. So I'm just gonna take the shade Valley Girl by ColourPop. I've been using this for my inner corner highlight like crazy. I love it. And I'm just gonna take like a small, you can use a pencil brush, you can use a Q-tip, you can use your finger, it don't matter. But I'm just gonna place this right on my inner corner, right beside my tear duct. And you don't have to put on as much as I do. I just like it to be fairly intense. So now I'm just gonna pop on some mascara and I'll be right back. Okay, so I am back, and this right here is the final look. We are dark, we are deep, we are smoky, we are sultry. Now I can say I did not put on false eyelashes. If you wanted to put on false eyelashes, that would not affect anything. If anything, it would make it a lot more sultry, I guess you would say. I have just been in a funk where I've not been using eyelashes. So yeah, like I said before, this is super similar to just a basic eyeshadow. You just deepen things up, you just make it just a little bit darker, and then now you're a smoky eye. Pop some eyeliner in and you're good to go. I absolutely love smoky eyes. I feel like you can wear a smoky eye to absolutely any occasion. They can be even darker than this. They can be even lighter than this, but this is right dead in the middle, so that's why I figured I would show you guys. But yeah, this right here is the end of the video. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.